Contrast is one of the most fundamental tools that photographers have at their disposal to create powerful, impactful imagery. But contrast means so much more than just the visual interplay of light and dark tones. It's a primordial force that philosophers have long realized governs our entire universe and human experience. Contrast allows elements to be defined, to stand out, to be emphasized by comparison. As photographers, we can tap into these deep philosophical insights about contrast to elevate our imagery from the mere surface recordings into profound visual expressions and compelling symbolic storytelling. Contrast in its various forms and manifestations has been a subject of great interest and inquiry for thinkers throughout history. From the earliest philosophers to contemporary theorists, the idea of contrast has been playing a central role in shaping our understanding of the world and our experience of reality and the very nature of human thought and perception. At its core, contrast is about difference, opposition, and juxtaposition. It is the interplay between light and dark, hot and cold, high and low, and good and evil, and countless other dualities that structure our experience of the world. Contrast is what allows us to perceive and make sense of the rich tapestry of reality, to discern patterns and relationships, and to navigate the complex landscape of meaning and value. But contrast is more than just a perceptual or cognitive phenomenon. It is also a deeply philosophical concept, one that touches on fundamental questions about the nature of reality, the structure of knowledge, and the human condition itself. Throughout history, philosophers have grappled with the idea of contrast, seeking to understand its role in shaping our understanding of the world and ourselves. In this episode, we will explore the concept of contrast through the lens of the most influential and provocative thinkers in the Western philosophical tradition. We will trace the evolution of this powerful and enduring idea and consider its implications for our understanding of our reality, knowledge, and the human experience. As we delve into the rich history of philosophical thought on contrast, we will see how this concept has been used to illuminate some of the most profound and challenging questions of human existence. We will explore how contrast has been understood as a fundamental principle of reality itself, as a key to unlocking the mysteries of knowledge and truth, and as a catalyst for personal and social transformation. Through our explorations of these ideas, we will gain a deeper appreciation for the power and significance of contrast, not only in our photography, but also in shaping our world and ourselves. We will see how contrast is not merely an abstract philosophical concept, but a vital and dynamic force that permeates every aspect of our lives, from the most mundane to the most profound. So let us begin our journey into the fascinating and complex world of contrast and discover how this idea has captured the imaginations and sparked the insight of some of the greatest minds in human history. We come to the work of the great German philosopher Georg Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel. Hegel's philosophy represents a major milestone in the history of Western thought, and his ideas about contrast and the dialectic have had a profound impact on subsequent thinkers and movements, from Marxism to existentialism to postmodernism. At the heart of Hegel's philosophy is the idea of the dialectic, a process of thought and reality in which opposites or contradictions are not merely in conflict, but are actually necessary stages in the unfolding of a higher unity or synthesis. For Hegel, the dialectic is not just a method of reasoning or argumentation, but a fundamental feature of reality itself, the very structure and dynamism of history, culture, and the human spirit. Hegel's dialectic is often described in terms of a three-step process: thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. The thesis represents an initial idea or position, which gives rise to the opposite or negation, the antithesis. The conflict between thesis and antithesis then leads to the higher synthesis, which incorporates and transcends the original opposites while also giving rise to new contradictions and tensions that drive the dialectical process forward. For Hegel, the dialectic is not a linear or predetermined process, but a complex and open-ended one, in which each stage of development contains within itself the seeds of its own transformation and sublation, which he calls the Aufhebung. The dialectic is thus a dynamic and self-generating process, a constant unfolding of new possibilities and perspectives, in which the interplay of opposites and contradictions is the very engine of progress and change. One of the key insights of Hegel's dialectic is the idea that reality is not a fixed or static entity, but a constantly evolving and developing one, shaped by the interplay of contrasting forces and ideas. Hegel sees history and culture as a dialectical process in which different societies, belief systems, and forms of consciousness emerge, conflict, and transform each other over time, leading to new and higher forms of social and spiritual development. Hegel's dialectic also has important implications for our understanding of the self and personal identity. For Hegel, the self is not a fixed or isolated entity, but a dynamic and relational one, shaped by the interplay of contrasting roles, identities, and social contexts. The process of self-development is thus a dialectical one, in which we constantly negotiate and reconcile the tensions and contradictions within ourselves, as well as between ourselves and others. Use Hegel's dialectic teachings to successfully capture contrast in your photography by looking for the thesis, the antithesis, and demonstrate the synthesis of the scene you're photographing. As we approach the end of our philosophical journey through the concept of contrast, we come to the work of the French philosopher and novelist Albert Camus, who offers a powerful and poignant exploration of the absurdity and contradiction of the human condition. Camus' philosophy represents a major contribution to the existentialist tradition, emphasizing the individual struggles for meaning and authenticity in the face of a world that is ultimately indifferent and absurd. At the heart of Camus' philosophy is the idea of the absurd, the fundamental contradiction between the human desire for meaning and purpose and the ultimate meaninglessness and indifference of the universe. For Camus, the absurd is not a logical or metaphysical problem to be solved, but an existential condition to be confronted and grappled with. In his essay, The Myth of Sisyphus, Camus explores the idea through the figure of Sisyphus, the mythical Greek king who was condemned by the gods to roll a boulder up a hill for all eternity, only to watch it roll back down again. For Camus, Sisyphus represents the ultimate symbol of the absurd hero, the individual who recognizes the futility and absurdity of his existence, but who nevertheless chooses to embrace it with passion and defiance. As Camus writes, the absurd man wants to live without relinquishing any of his certainty, without a future, without hope, without illusions, and without resignation either. He stares at death with passionate attention, and this fascination liberates him. He experiences the divine irresponsibility of the condemned man. For Camus, the absurd is not a cause for despair or nihilism, but a challenge to be met with courage and integrity. It demands a kind of revolt against the meaninglessness of existence, a refusal to surrender to despair or to seek escape in false hopes or illusions. The absurd hero is one who faces the absurdity of life head-on, who creates his own meaning and value in the face of an indifferent universe. Moreover, Camus sees the absurd as a fundamental feature of the human condition, reflecting on the inherent tensions and contradictions of our existence. We are beings who are both conscious and mortal, both free and bound by circumstance, both yearning for meaning and confronted with its absence. It is only by embracing these contrasts and paradoxes, by living in the tension between them, that we can truly become ourselves and realize our full potential as individuals. Camus' philosophy of the absurd has had a profound influence on subsequent thinkers and movements, from the existentialists to the postmodernists. It has challenged traditional notions of meaning, morality, and human nature, while also offering a powerful vision of the individual's struggle for authenticity and revolt in the face of an absurd world. As you think of how to use Camus' teachings in photography, appreciate the depth and honesty of his vision and consider how his philosophy of the absurd might illuminate the struggles and aspirations of individuals confronted with the ultimate question of existence that you capture in your photos. Embrace the tension and contradiction of the human condition and create photos that strive to create meaning and value in the face of an indifferent universe. As we come to the end of our philosophical journey through the concept of contrast, we have seen how this idea has captured the imaginations and sparked the insight of some of the greatest thinkers in the Western tradition. From the ancient Greeks to the existentialists, the theme of contrast has been a powerful and enduring one, illuminating the deepest questions and challenges of human existence. How will you use this newfound knowledge and understanding in your photography? Let me know in the comments, and make sure you like and subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notified of new episodes. And as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.